Welcome back to another episode of Talking VoIP with Datagate, where we dive into the tools, trends, and tactics shaping the future of MSPs and telecom billing. I'm your host, Mark Lovey, CEO of Datagate, the leading telecom billing platform for MSPs. Today, we're joined by Tim Barton-Wines, Executive Extraordinaire at HaloPSA, one of the fastest growing PSA platforms in the industry. Tim's been deep in the trenches of PSA software for years, helping MSPs streamline operations and scale smarter. Today, we're cutting through the noise on one of the hottest topics in tech right now, artificial intelligence. Everyone's talking about it, but what does AI actually mean for MSPs in real terms? What's working, what's hype, and where are the risks? Tim brings the frontline perspective, and I think you'll find this one both refreshing and real. Let's get started. Tim, all the way from Stowmarket in the UK, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, appreciate the very flattering intro there. Yeah, it's great to be here and great to hang out once again.
Awesome. And nice to see you there at the HQ of HaloPSA in Stowmarket.
Yeah. So I'm at the 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗆 of Innovation. This is Halo's global HQ, and you can see here's the main entrance, and we have the lovely slide in the background, as you can see, which was a little slice of Silicon Valley just stuffed into the leafy English countryside. It is way faster than it looks, which is quite funny. But yeah, it's
awesome. Calling
in live and direct.
Awesome, and we may have some people dropping in very quickly through that slide, but very good. Thank you, Tim.
We'll see. See if they get through the front door.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so where is Halo up to with artificial intelligence? Is there an AI feature in HaloPSA that MSPs are actively using today? And if so, how is it improving their workflow or profitability?
Yeah, so, all right, as you get to know me, I'm pretty transparent, I'm pretty blunt, and I've got some pretty, going through the technology and back again as part of us doing this work over the last sort of 2 years. I've got quite a negative point of view on AI, which you might find you might take me to task on, right? So I will probably just frame this if people haven't heard of Halo or know where we are in our AI journey, where so like basically we were quite early adopters and we worked quite ferociously. We didn't really market it and we don't even charge for it. But in October last year, Halo hit the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the first time, and it was for our use case of AI in service management, which is super cool, right? And so Gartner recognizes Halo in the top 10 companies on Earth pioneering this stuff. What makes it really funny is Halo is the only MSP vendor on that list, and we give it away for free, where compared to something like a ServiceNow, to turn on the AI module, you have to, it's additional sort of like 30% of your current annual spend just to enable the module, then you have to configure it. Where in Halo, there is a bunch of out-of-the-box first-party stuff, and the application of AI in Halo is super customizable, right? So we're up there, we've done this. We're probably top of the class, I would say, right? And basically, the out-of-box first-party stuff that we have is was initial ideas that then became productized. So a few that we do have, which helps with service efficiency, also profitability and analytics, are two of its AI's main strengths, right? So we haven't got some weird funny name like 𝗂𝗂𝗏 or 𝘁𝗂𝗿𝗁𝗁. It's just Halo's AI and it's included. But there is basically AI is really good, at certain things, and we don't really market it. And for me, in July 2025, when this webinar is being recorded, there is really any AI. It's just data pattern recognition and a license fee right now, but probably other vendors don't want to tell you that. So it's really good at cross-referencing data that you have existing already. So you have your Halo account, and then the database, the backend database, which covers all your different parts of your businesses, right? Your CRM, your projects, your service, your contracts. It makes that database a really rich place to pull insights out of. So in terms of sort of improving workflow or profitability, a few key things that we can do is basically Halo has vectorized its database. So basically a ticket will arrive into your platform. We look at the content in the subject and the body, all the keywords, the order of the keywords, the tonality, the sentiment, and then those attributes will get clustered together in the database. And then over time, when you have thousands of these tickets and you get a new ticket arriving, which is similar, by default, Halo can go off to your old closed ticket history, bring back the 5 most similar tickets to this new ticket that's arrived in that hits a certain threshold. And then once we do that, we can start making a number of AI suggestions. So we can suggest like a time target based on how long it took to fix the old ones. We can be like, oh, it was, these 4 out of these 5 are categorized as this thing. So let's categorize this new ticket automatically or suggest it. So, and the automation you can do there, or the AI suggestion you can do there, I should say, is pretty up there. You'll probably save a good sort of maybe 5 to 10 hours a week per tech if you have a lot of that. If I'm doing compared from doing 0 to some of the teams I'm working with who've got some pretty mature setups, right? So basic stuff like that, which helps us get us onto the quadrant, is what I would say is Halo's bread and butter, which is, you can start a trial from the website and that's turned on by default. So that's a very easy way to get into AI if you aren't doing something today. But that stuff just really helps with profitability and stops you from hiring, new staff, right? And it allows you to take staff off your existing service desk and put them to work on automation, which is a really great strategy to help people, move their sort of automation AI forwards in a business.
Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations on that recognition and being first in there to capitalize on this technology. So how do you balance automation with the technician accountability? I mean, in a world that's moving more and more towards the machines answering questions, and the technician in the background, what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, it's how much do you put the machine in charge, and how much do you put the person in charge?
Yeah, that's a great dichotomy, right? So, I mean, generally from my consultancy background, AI is this big shiny thing, right? And techie focused geeks like us all love just going and playing around with that, when maybe our core process isn't even right to begin with, and just layering this stuff on top of one another doesn't actually benefit anyone. So, suggestion is to not even get into AI until your core processes are really good, and then you can start layering on top of this other stuff, and that it becomes a more of a multiplier. And the maturity of AI right now is not as good as people make you think it is. So I would never suggest giving, I would treat AI as a graduate trainee starter, right? And giving them the keys to answer on behalf of you automatically is a dreadful idea currently. So the best results I've seen working with 200 to 300 of our biggest partners and power users of Halo every year is coming from the idea of using AI to augment the tech experience. So you're not replacing technicians yet, because that's really hard to do. More to basically hydrate, enrich. When they pick up a ticket, it's already got the answer. You can already see the suggestions. You can already have scripts ready to go to send. There's layering on tools on a ticket experience that helps them speed up the resolution by leveraging the old stuff you've done previously, is the best way to drive efficiency. So I don't even think you should have, by default, when you start a trial of Halo, for example, it doesn't auto apply the suggestions. So we'll make the suggestions and then you choose to apply them. There is a setting to have them auto applied, but that's not a very good idea, right? Right now, anyway. The best thing to do is have it make all the suggestions for you, and then you click a button to say apply. So your technician is still accountable, and they are controlling the quality of the response that you're providing as a business. It might change with MCPs servers in the future with the agentic over marketed future that we're positioned in, but that is my take on where the sort of the draw the line for automate, like AI responding on your behalf versus humans doing the work they do best.
Absolutely. I think MSPs will definitely respect and have confidence in your pragmatic approach there, that to what is hype and what is real. That's very, very impressive. So in terms of your conversations with MSPs, Tim, what are the MSPs asking for with regard to AI? And is what they're asking for technically feasible in today's level of AI?
I think it'd be like anyone, right? You just want to be seen to be using AI. You want to be able to say that you use it and everyone being really impressed that you're using it. Like it's, they don't really ask for specific features. They just want to see more of it and make it more easily accessible, right? There's no one really, this is this big wild west that this frontier is. I'm sure you appreciate, where it's just a load of, people don't really know what they want. They just know it has to be AI powered.
Yeah.
So it's, we have to be very realistic looking at the actual capability of the technology today, and then finding use cases where it becomes valuable. And as I mentioned, the idea of recognizing patterns in data that you have already to then generate a result that is actually useful is the crux, right? So, and then once you take a bunch of data, very quickly ascertain the sort of service scenario, you can then start applying automations with scripts attached to be able to then automate them. So combining those two is what the tip of the spear I'm seeing for MSPs in 2025. But for what they're asking for, it's mostly model driven. Halo only integrates with OpenAI. It's probably the best one right now. Others like Claude and Gemini have good attributes, but they're expensive. I don't really see requests for that sort of thing personally. They're just happy that they are, they're at the start of their journeys typically, and people who know what they're doing are just happy to, know that you have an API to connect it in. So there's this real space I'm seeing in the MSP industry where there are these people who aren't just full-blown experts, and they are probably not doing anything today. So the real trick as a vendor, right, is taking being very realistic, taking that technology, the high-end automations, and making them as accessible as possible. That's the real trick that you can do as a vendor. But that will do the most good for MSPs who are asking for more from AI, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed. And so,
Mark, I've got a question for you. Do people ask you at Datagate to be more AI powered, or do they ask you to do certain things like that? Is there any sort of automation or AI that they ask of you as a business?
Thank you. Well, we're certainly talking about it a lot. We're doing a lot of work internally on how we maximize AI in the Datagate product, and but it does come down to things like the documentation. I think AI is fantastic for finding, solving problems based on a whole lot of documents, I suppose, and I guess that's what you're also saying. I mean, in terms of the way AI tends to work is that it gets the meaning of what someone's asking for. It doesn't have to match the exact words, just the meaning of it, and then it can find it. Whereas in a previous world, you had to use the right actual words to find things. But
do you ever get MSPs being like, when you return all the numbers and I'm about to send the invoice out to the customer, I want you to generate a summary for the usage compared to last month, or anything weird like that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And they want it to be like a virtual CFO. Have a look for problem. What do I need to know about and all that sort of thing. So that's the sort of thing we're focusing on is taking the high level view. Okay, I'm running a billing run, and what do I need to, what should I know about this? What's unusual about it, and what should I look
Sure.
into?
Okay. So you're seeing people requests based on not for the customer experience as such. It's more for them for accuracy purposes. That's where you're seeing the most. Makes sense, right? I guess.
Yeah, I guess in telecom billing, yeah, that and the access of solving like support, I guess, which is probably the same as MSPs, really.
Mhm.
And so yeah, and I guess the other thing that that we're sort of thinking of is when an AI model answers a question, comes up with a whole lot of really intelligent looking conversation about answer to your problem. Where does that come from? How did it come to that decision? How do you handle that in Halo? Can users audit or override AI actions or conclusions easily?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That's
Mm.
I think that's the least you can do, right? As a good vendor, it's
Yeah.
you have this brand new technology that is giving away the keys to the kingdom, and you're letting it loose in a central platform that runs your entire business. That it just it'd be very silly just to enforce stuff and not allow it to be customizable or visual. So yeah, like there's loads of audit logs, and you have the option to apply based on from the suggestion. So you see the suggestion it makes, and you can then click apply. Yeah, happy with that. Happy with that. Not happy with this one. Happy with that. Right, and you can get total control right over what the result gets applied to the service scenario in this case. And that's a lot of the transparency we're talking about here, right? But also, like as I mentioned, that's the productized stuff, and then when we get into data lakes, data warehousing, the idea of sort of people who are more high end in that regard, that sort of decision is taken outside of Halo, but they could populate other options we have, I guess. But yeah, so the answer is yeah, totally, yeah, you have to. Like it's mandatory. I mean, crazy if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely giving the options, showing transparency, showing what models hooked up. We have AI documentation, policy, and security around this. So it's an expert language model, so it's just your data and it's set up in a secure way. And you can, if you don't like how that looks, you can hook up your own account and get more control. So you have a load of visibility around where your data is, how it's being used, when it gets the result, how it's being applied. Like that whole thing you have total control over, and I think that's really key. If you don't, that's where it should start, not the marketing bit, which is what a lot of vendors in the space maybe have got wrong. They say they're AI powered, then they just hook it out to ChatGPT and get a result, where actually it should start from a more secure point of view. In my opinion, that's probably my inner nerd talking.
No, that's great. That to me, that's what I see a lot in Halo is you guys focus on product first, get it right before you do the marketing, and the world sees all the marketing, which is done very, very well, I should say. And yeah, so Tim, where do you see all this going? I mean, the future. Normally, I'd say the next 3 or 5 years, but with AI, it's moving so quickly. I mean, maybe even the next year. What do you think will happen next year?
Yeah,
with AI and PSA systems and Halo in particular.
Yeah, so MCP servers are coming down. So the idea to create agentic AI and bots is what's coming up next, right? And there's a version of Halo coming out in the next 60 days that has that in, and we'll go through it first party, and we'll be creating first party config in our Halo account with some of this stuff enabled and start building some of that out. What else would I say is coming next? So the idea of agentic AI and the bots will be sort of on the horizon. We're going for our second year on the Gartner Magic Quadrant, so we're probably going to attempt to build our own LLM, which would be cool. So we'll be building our own AI engine, which is So I can
Wow.
already hear the screams from the dev team upstairs about having to deliver that. So yeah, we're going to be bringing it more in-house, first party at Halo, and we'll be exploring the newest stuff that a lot of vendors are just harping on about at the moment, and seeing actually where I think being a later mover in this space and you know, getting it right, that sort of Apple approach, right, where you're like a year or two behind, but when you do it right. For me, that's, and this type of technology, a better approach. So that's probably what we'll be doing. And then we can explore the idea of, you know, you having a fleet of bots that are trained with certain models that can help you, they can sort of deploy digital workers, right? And that will be the next phase. But my expectations are pretty low, in all honesty. And yeah, that will be the people who figure that out first will probably do, you know, the best over the next sort of couple of years, right? Not sure if you have any opinions for where it's going next.
Yeah, no, it's all moving very quickly. I'm expecting the continuous radical change that's happening, and I guess like all businesses, it's a matter of keeping up, making sure we're, you know, to remain competitive, stay ahead of the field, and make the most of the technology that's available and proven. And on that note, Tim, what's your advice to MSPs generally who are hesitant to adopt AI because of concerns around accuracy, control, or client trust?
Yeah, I mean, that's all very valid reasons, right? Like there are a lot of vendors all saying they have AI, they don't really have, it's all mostly in the marketing material, nothing really of substance. And then when they try and use it, it costs a lot of money. You don't know where the security is. It's low accurate. Like, yeah, there's loads of downsides, right? So like, where do you start? I mean, if you're talking about Halo specifically, and you have to use a PSA that has AI applied and to get it running with relative ease, I'd first make sure that your processes are in good state. So if you're moving to Halo, for example, or you're a Halo customer, it'd be to either to invest in your implementation to make sure that your processes are absolutely perfect, and then do AI in a second phase, so like 6 months to 9 months after you go live. For an existing customer, just to make sure your processes are really mature and it's working, your account's working really well, and then it's time probably to maybe look at some AI stuff. And then it's relatively easy in Halo. You just turn on the module, and then a lot of the systematic or sort of the productized capability will just get applied. You can get a UAT or a sandbox as well. I mean, you can just have a copy of your config on that. So when you're turning it on, you can test it out in a safe manner without affecting live data, because that might be a bit nuts. And yeah, there's loads of people on YouTube, in the Halo community that are talking about what they're doing with AI. So I'd go and engage with some of that content and go and learn around, you know, all the guides and the content we have around how the AI integration works. And that'll probably put you in best stead, right? So you can set it up in a safe manner, and a lot of it's out the box and you can play around with. You can read the guides on the stuff that we've done for how it works. And then once you've got that in play, you can definitely, you know, go online, and there's some really easy to absorb videos of some real power users of Halo going through how they're doing it, what they're doing, how it works, which I think is, if I was an MSP starting in a PSA tomorrow, that's probably what I would do. So that's definitely what I would suggest.
So Tim, you mentioned AI modules can be turned on pretty easily once processes are dialed in, but what about the results? Can you share a real example of an MSP actually using AI and Halo today where it clearly saved time or helped improve outcomes?
Right, so I'm doing some presentations and keynotes over the next month or two, right? And it's involved me having to go outside of what we do. And it has to, you know, the requirements of the talk was like, it's what are your customers doing? How activated are they? Is that sort of a requirement on it? So it's forced me not just to sit in my little bubble and see what Halo's doing. It's forced me to go and speak to a lot of customers and understand where they are and what are they doing. So I've been gassing with a lot of our partners and our power users of Halo. And I've got they've been sending me stuff, and I can read out a couple for what they're doing and how it works. And this could probably pique the ears of some people who may be listening and watching. So one of them is the idea of something called emotion detection, right? So it's the idea of a ticket arrives into the platform. We go through all the content, the subject, the body, all the keywords, the order of the keywords, the tonality, the sentiment. And then we will ask AI, rate this email on 1 to 10 of how satisfied it is. And then it will, you can then get a result back, and it will populate a field on the tickets. Let's say it's like a 5. If you can then set up a notification trigger. So if it's 4 or less, it can send an email to the head of service. So every time there's a negative interaction or they can be notified to just draw eyes onto that. Pretty clever stuff.
Nice.
That's a pretty low lift. Another one. This one's pretty fun. There's 2 more I'd probably mention. This one is pretty cool. So I've got a guy here who is hooking up a runbook to their Ninja. So an Azure runbook, which is like a low-code integration into Halo, hooking it into their Ninja RMM. So when they get an alert from Ninja, just a system alert saying load disk space for a customer's device, and that creates the alert in Halo as a ticket, that arriving like that is a two-way API Ninja in a Halo. So that ticket arriving in Halo, it will push a request back into a runbook back into Ninja, and it will get it to run a script against that device to bring back an analysis of that device to the ticket, populate it on the ticket, and give the technician suggestions on what files might be of calls recently that have been added that are causing low disk space that you suggest deleting. So you can pick up a ticket in Halo, and you already have all the answers to the question. That will save you half an hour per ticket that comes in. The last one I'll mention, I'll leave you on, is there's a lot of social engineering AI voice nowadays, right? And that's causing lawsuits and big problems for MSPs, right? If I pick up the phone, I say, I'm Mark Lovey, CEO of Datagate, in your voice, and ask you to send loads of money to me, and Adrian's panicking. She's like, all right, I'll do that because it's Mark doing it. That has caused some lawsuits and some headlines, and there's some real concern. So you can use a product called SIP, SIPP. It's there's lots of contributors to SIP that use Halo, and what you can do is you can basically do an MFA push. A lot of this is automation, not AI, but I've gone off the topic a bit, but it's cool stuff anyway.
That's cool.
But I mean, so the Ninja one, you would use AI to determine what it is, not just a ticket rule. And also they are both AI, fine, okay. And the last one is the idea of doing an MFA, a multi-factor authentication push. So I send you, Adrian would send you, Mark, an all notification saying that you are who you say you are. Read out the numbers on the telephone, or just confirm that this is your password. And that could just be behind an action with a runbook. So you click verify, goes to a third-party product, sends an MFA to this person, they verify, it comes back, and we can then continue on the conversation, right? Because we know who you are. So that's a great way to eliminate social engineering, hackers to be part of an outsourced IT, and those are some real MSP automations for what they're doing in Halo that's I've not seen in other solutions currently. Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely proving the power of integrations, isn't it? The way Halo's integrated to so many products, and you can leverage that with the AI and your processes. Impressive, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, all good. So that's that will probably save them a few hundred hours a year. And yeah, as I said, during this, the best technique is to take people off of your service desk and make them focus on automation. And that is the best technique I've seen for helping MSPs move their sort of efficiency forward. Because if you're always in the trenches and everything's always going wrong and you can't focus on anything else, how are you meant to make anything improve, right? So getting the right tool set that has the capabilities to do this high-end stuff, and then having someone who focuses on achieving it for your business and your use case and your customer types is what's working the most I'm seeing in 2025 so far.
Excellent.
I think it's the same parameters as anything, right? It's the it's feedback, it's time to resolve, it's NPS survey, it's it's the same parameters, right? You should be tracking the amount of automations as they occur, so you can see the activity of, so you have a line for AI activity and application to a ticket, and that should hopefully correlate to your move in service satisfaction. So I think it's the same service KPIs, but you should just be tracking the number of applications of AI suggestions that get accepted on tickets and other things that get applied. So that should just be a monitor, and that's just a SQL report you can probably put together with in a few hours. So yeah, you're still monitoring the same KPIs, but then you're then measuring that against the AI application, right? That would be what I would see.
Before we wrap up, Tim, is there an AI feature currently in development at Halo that you're personally excited about? Something you think will move the needle for MSPs?
I'm not that excited about anything, if I'm honest with you. As I said, I mean, we're only doing LMM because of the Gartner Magic Quadrants. Will it be better than OpenAI? Probably not initially. Will it be better over time? Probably. So that's just a requirements thing. Super cool we're doing it, but I think that's a very long-term project. The MCP stuff with the 𝗀𝗁𝗃 AI and bots, which we'll be doing in the next sort of month or so, that's probably got me the most excited, because that's we've kind of we spent like 2 years, right, going through the same sort of thing, and we've kind of reached a level of sort of optimization of the stuff we thought about, the stuff we've implemented, and refining it. But the new stuff then opens it up again, right? So we can then have multiple bots with different personalities applied to their models that then could serve certain roles: a dispatcher, a service technician, a project task, organizer, a lead, like an SDR. Like, you can start playing around with that, and that's going to be quite exciting to see the results and what we can get first party and try and make available for free, which I think is also accessible, which will be the actual challenge that I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into.
And looking a little further out, where do you see AI heading for MSPs over the next couple of years? What should they be watching or preparing for?
Oh, that's a great question. There's issues in the industry, right? It's really hard and expensive to get the best technicians that we need. So MSPs are struggling to hire talent and also retain it, and also for them to feel nurtured and coming through the ranks. I think how do I think this? So I think if everyone's been painting this rosy marketing picture of agentic, in my dream world, I'd love that to be true instead of just marketing guff. But I'll check back in 6 months whether I think it's all been guff or not. Maybe I'm a bit more of a pessimist, but I think it will be not that good initially. So maybe if it's like 5 years from now, agentic isn't dreadful, it's pretty good. MSPs can take they don't have to, it allows them to stop hiring people, which helps 𝗔𝗔 and profit, of course, but it also removes the issue of having to find the right text, because you've already got the right text, right? And it allows you to scale imaginably, right? So you have an army of bots, if you believe what people tell you, that you're going to be managing, and you'll be just tracking to make sure that they're being really effective. That would be the dream, where you're lowering the bar for great MSPs to come through, and it will help their 𝗔𝗔 if they want to be acquired in the future. That could be really helpful as well, because we're just using the right tool set to get the result, and you've got quite low costs, because the cost of AI will go down, hopefully. So yeah, like high EBITDA, more time spent on the right things, and it unlocks scalability for the best MSPs to rise through the market is what, if you're going to ask me what my dream future for AI is, that's probably what it would look like.
Excellent. Well, that's great, Tim. This has been very, very helpful, very informative, and I'm sure our listeners will be appreciating this insight. So thank you for joining us all the way from Stowmarket in the UK at Halo headquarters. We will put out contact details for Halo here at the end of this recording, and thank you to all our viewers out there. Thank you, Tim, and
yeah, thanks.
May the VoIP be
appreciate
with
you.
Very good.
The VoIP be with you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.